And the formulas, you start with the data that you were given in 2022. Make sure that gross profit is showing very well. It is revenue, you deduct cost of sales. That one is the formula we set for 2022 before we even started forecasting. Then make sure that your total income is gross profit plus other incomes. That's where to start from. And it needs patience. If you don't do that, whatever you'll be doing after that will not be correct. Make sure that your earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation is your total income, you less the two expenses, which is admin and distribution. So that step is very critical because once you filled in that formula, that is the same formula you'll drag to the next 3 years under your forecasting period, and it will autofill. Make sure your earnings before interest and tax is the earnings before interest, tax, depreciation minus depreciation and amortization. Make sure you do that. And remember, as you set that formula, these your figures for expenses are already in negative. The figure for cost of sale is already in negative. Please make sure you remember that. And if you want to get the difference between revenue and cost of sales, you want to deduct cost of sales from revenue, you know that is a subtraction. But if your cost of sale is already in negative, you do not need to deduct again. Remember, a negative minus a negative. You simply mean, for example, let me just write it here. I want to deduct 4,500 and I want to deduct negative 3,200. If I put a negative sign and again and I put another negative sign, which is negative 3,200, remember these two signs here, negative and a negative, will cancel out. A negative by a negative will be a positive. I'll be adding instead of subtracting. And if I can even want Excel to give me an answer here, you realize that Excel has added the two. Why? Because a negative by a negative turns to a positive. Now, when you're setting this your formula here, given that this number is already given in negative, make sure you now add them because a positive by a negative is a negative. So what do we do here? Now here, instead of putting 4,500 minus that, just say 4,500 plus. And this positive by this negative will be a negative and you want it to subtract. If you ask Excel to give you an answer, you realize it will be 1,300, which is what we have here as gross profit under 2022. Please get that right, so that when setting up your formulas, make sure you concentrate on the sign.